All right, good afternoon, Ms. Exiga. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you so much.
Good.
Good afternoon.
How did testing go today?
I think it was okay. The
Okay.
students, they were
Okay.
working well, so.
Okay, all right. So, Ms. Exiga, we are here to talk about your walkthrough that took place on last week.
Okay,
Let me go
thank
ahead
you.
and pull it up in Schoolmint here. All right, so your walkthrough that took place on November the 9th.
Okay.
All right, so we came in on November the 9th at about 8:47 in the morning. One of the things I saw when I came in and is to be celebrated was that I was able to see annotated lesson plans that were in your burgundy binder. You had them easily accessible for us when we came in. I looked in them, Dr. Washington, so good job with following the expectations of the campus. Tell me, what do you think the impact of having annotated lesson plans could have on your students?
I think it's more easy for me to, like, for example, when I start the lesson, so I feel like more prepared in the lessons.
Okay.
So I love it. On the weekend, I enjoy the lesson.
Okay.
Because we started with fraction 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And honestly, I want to say this is the first time I teach 5th grade.
Okay.
Because like last year I taught 7th grade and Mexico I used to teach high school.
Ah.
So for me it was very interesting the way we need to teach the students the fraction, because I haven't had that opportunity before.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
for me was really excited and I was really happy to teach. So to teach the students, and I think they were happy and most of the students understand the lesson. So I was happy for that. So, yeah, but I feel very well to be prepared for the lesson.
Okay. So additionally, I'd like to add that I think having lesson plans prepared and in place just makes the teaching go better. It's going to ensure that you hit the tics that you're supposed to be hitting, that your instruction is effective. And you can be more intentional, because basically I've always liked to look at having a lesson plan as having a script. You write this script for yourself, and so you follow this plan as you go throughout the lesson. So good job.
Thank you so much.
Today I want to dive into talking about the power zone. So your lesson plans was my glow. And so we're going to dive into talking about the power zone. Okay. What are the keys or the criteria for a successful or successfully moving about the power zone?
When I prepare the lessons.
So are you familiar with what power zone is as it relates to what you were given this summer?
Can you explain me a little bit more about this one? What exactly do you need?
Okay, so power zone is where we talk about how you get in to the mix with the students. You're in there with them, so you're not standing to the front of the board. We noticed that the way you had your classroom configured, and now that I'm looking back on it, you probably had your classroom configured the way you did because you were preparing the room for testing. But when you have all the desks spread out like that, we noticed that it was hard for you to kind of maneuver through the desk and through the students. And so you kind of, you did the best you could, but you kind of were stationary towards the board. And so power zone is when we talk about actually having a pathway or room to kind of weave in and out the students, which is why we typically put desk in cooperative groupings.
Yes.
So it gives us more room in the classroom to move around.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So it's because I work with each class is different. Each class is different. Okay. So on this class, when you were there, this student they have a lot of behavior problems. Okay. So for that reason, I put the seating arrangement is different from other classes. Okay. So I know sometimes it's hard for me to go through there, but it's not a problem for me. So for me the most important is that the students pay attention to me. They don't distract, they don't talk, because sometimes they start to talk between each other. So for that reason, when you are right there with that class, the sitting chart was different. With other groups, I put it like I work with them with I put it by dependent of the level of knowledge that they have, and it's more easy, like you say, to go through the room and everything. But for me, it's most important that they pay attention. For that reason, the sitting arrangement was different. Yeah, but I don't have any problem for me, to go through the students like that. So
one of the things that I think can help us even with behaviors is getting in there with them. We call it proximity, and proximity of the student being close to them. And so I think that even trying it or going back to trying it again with that first block class, and just being there with them, beside them, close to them as you're teaching, can help in curtailing some of those behaviors as well. So I'm gonna suggest that you go back and retry that. So let's think about the way you had the classroom set up for a second, with the rows, and it was all the kids were spaced out. And so now I have two suggestions that I drew for you.
Thank you so much.
Of ways you can configure your classroom. So I want to give you about a minute to look at both of these, and then I'll ask you a few questions.
I like it.
Okay, so which one of those do you think you would prefer to try in your classroom?
I would like to try teacher test. I would like maybe.
And there's no right or wrong one. Either one is fine. You want to try that one?
Yeah, okay.
All right. So I'm gonna take that back from you for a second, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna upload it to your walkthrough, and then I'll give you this copy back.
Okay. Thank you so
much. What I want you to do is, as you so let's think about the way you had your classroom set up that day, and then look at this. What do you notice? What are the gaps between the way you had your classroom set up that day and this diagram? What are the gaps? What are the differences?
The differences is I like, because the difference is, so I can, like, for example, what is the difference? So I think it's going to be more like I'm gonna be able to be to the students, in the whole room.
And so you're gonna be able to be in close proximity.
Proximity with the students.
Yes, and so being in close proximity with your kiddos, what can that automatically help you improve?
The learning and have better communication with them.
The learning, have better communication, and we can help improve, like you said, that first class. They have some behavior issues. So I think that implementing this plan can assist with kind of eradicating or getting rid of some of those unwanted behaviors as well.
For that reason I picked this one, because, for example, I can I can put the student that I know have better behavior and like in this part of, I don't know, but I like it for that reason, because I think on everything. So
when I was in the classroom, I would actually draw myself one of these, and I'd make copies of it for each section, and then I would put in students' names. So